Started here. And I want to welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I want to see, can everybody hear? And does everybody know how to turn on the captioning that's at the bottom of the screen? If you're going to have questions, you can do that live. Just raise your hand, or you can write them in the chat. And I will try to be monitoring the chat throughout the whole meeting. And very important that you fill out the evaluation for this meeting, which is at the bottom of the Zoom invitation that went out this morning. So today we have Lorin Gallistill. He's got something packed up for us to see. And before I turn it over to Lorin, I do have to say that keep our fingers crossed. We are hoping that this may be the last demo center held by Zoom. We've been given the go-ahead by Lifespan to do the May session. And of course, now I believe, does anybody have a calendar? I think it's the 19th. The 19th of May. It's the third Thursday in May. And just want to verify that date. I took my paper in the other room. Anyway, the difference is, we're going to be live at Lifespan, which is in the Tops Plaza off of South Clinton Avenue. And it opens at 10 o'clock in the morning and goes till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's free. All you got to do is come to Lifespan. There's plenty of parking. Just walk in the main door and check in with the receptionist, and she'll direct you to where we are in a conference room there. I do encourage you to check our chapter website prior to that, because if something changes, that's where it'll be announced. And Art, you want to add to that?
I just want to say May 19th is the correct date.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to Lorin. You're all set, Lorin, to share a screen if you want to.
Okay. And I thought we were also talking about the possibility of continuing with a Zoom demo center as well, but I don't think we decided for sure.
It hasn't been set up yet. Dan Brooks is looking into that. That would be, if that happens, it would be announced on our website. And also, if you're on our mailing list, which you probably are because you got the invitation, you'll see a e-blast that comes out. I think what he's proposing to do is start it in the fall, and it would be probably in the evening using this type of format. It would still be on Zoom, but important to note, this is in addition to the live demo center session, which will always be the third Thursday of the month. We don't meet in July and August, so we're hoping to have a live session in May and June. So stay tuned.
Okay, so let me share my screen. And I think we have a couple new people here. So I'm going to, oops, what am I seeing? Oh. Got to figure out what I'm doing here. Just give me a second. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is how you get to the virtual demo center. And let me just say before I really get started is that I just want to say I'm not an audiologist. I haven't had any formal training, but I've had about 6 years now of experience with my hearing aids. And I think that's true for most of the people on this call. So we're able to talk, I think, with some level of expertise about what our own problems are and what we've done about it. And the people on this team always are looking for new technologies and trying to understand them. So to that extent, I think we have some information to provide for people. Our first recommendation for anybody who is looking for an assistive listening device, which is just a device to help you hear better, whether or not you have hearing aids. But our first bit of advice is always see an audiologist if you haven't had your hearing checked, because you just don't know what kind of problems there could be. You notice that your hearing isn't quite as good, but you don't know what the cause is really. The way to get to the virtual demo center is going to our website, which is, I'll just type it in here as you're watching. Yeah, you can see my screen, right? Yeah. So it's hearinglossrochester.org. It's a chapter website. And when you get there,
Lorin, do you mind maximizing the page, please?
oh, not at all. Forgot to do that. Is that better?
Very much so.
Okay, sorry about that. So when you get to the chapter website, just click on this little box here, Virtual Demo Center. And the response is always slow through Zoom, so it'll be faster when you're on your own machine. And the first place you get to is a page called the Assistive Listening Device Demonstration Center. This isn't the Virtual Demo Center yet. You have to slide down a little bit and then click on here, or actually click on this little image. By the way, we were just talking among ourselves a little earlier that we might rename this page the Live Demonstration Center page, because it talks about the Live Demo Center that we hopefully will have open in May, as Charlie mentioned, and that would differentiate it from the Virtual Demo Center. So the Virtual Demo Center was created originally to be some help to people who have been to the Live Demo Center and have a lot of questions afterwards. And I think when you come to the Live Demo Center, it's like sort of the same experience as when you walk out of your doctor's office. You heard a lot of stuff about a lot of different things, and you hope you can remember what you heard. Well, to help people with that, what we created here is a website that allows you to see and explore the devices, any of the devices that you may have seen in the Live Demo Center. So the first page here is just basically a button to click, for you to click to go to the main page. But it also has a little bit of preliminary information if you'd like to read it. Also, if you wanted to leave a question, have a suggestion, suggestion, a complaint, or anything about the Virtual Demo Center, just click on that little Here button, and you'll be able to enter information. You can do it anonymously, or if you want an answer, you can leave your name and email address. So, okay, let's go to the main page. And you see 8 different areas here, soon to be 9. The first one will show you the devices that we have in the Live Demo Center. Then we also saw it because many times when we're talking to people in the Live Demo Center, we realize that there might be yet a different device that would help them. So we have another area here called Devices Beyond the Demo Center. The place that this should really be the first image probably, the place where we suggest people start. If you're wearing hearing aids and you're looking for something to help you hear in specific situations, like the television or in noisy environments or hearing on the phone, the first place to start is with the assistive accessories that are made by the hearing aid or cochlear implant manufacturer. They know most about how to interact with their hearing aids. So that's the first place to go. In some cases, you might find that you can be helped by a smartphone or a tablet. There might be an app that you can download that will actually help you to hear better. And by the way, as I'm going along, don't hesitate to interrupt me, because really the main purpose of this session is to hear your issues and to help you if we can. It's just a little bit harder to do this than it is in the live demo center, because usually when people walk into the live demo center, first question is, how can we help you? So, and then they pair off with one of our volunteers and they explain what the problems are. It's a little bit more difficult to do that here, but, and some people might be a little more reluctant to do that with, speaking crowd. But by all means, just interrupt with any questions at any time. Then we have a couple other areas. By the way, I didn't mention, but you clicked on any of these images and it takes you to another page or series of pages that address this particular area. There's also now an area called over-the-counter hearing aids, which are hoping to help address people who are looking for that type of device. There's a learning center that will help you to learn a little bit about hearing induction loops and about telecoils, and how actually a great video from the National Institutes of Health on how you hear. There's also an area that, this one is most relevant to people in the Rochester, New York area, but it's hearing friendly venues around Rochester, New York. Even if you're not from Rochester, you may want to take a look at it just to get an idea of what to look for in your area. And then finally, resource area for purchasing. So we only have a couple different vendors in here right now. These are the ones that we're familiar with. So let me start by, I just want to go over the demo center devices first, just the areas that we've segmented the different products into. And then we'll jump over to assistive devices from the manufacturers, because that was going to be one of our focuses today. And if we have time, we can talk about anything else that you want to. Okay, so let's start with demo center devices. We have different categories. They're all highlighted in red. And just a preliminary announcement here is that most of the products you see here are amplifiers of some sort, or they work with amplifiers. These are helpful really only to people who have a sensory neural hearing loss. Generally, we say a high frequency hearing loss. But for somebody, let's say, with a profound hearing loss, many of these products won't really help a lot. They might help a little bit, but it's mostly mild to moderate hearing loss, or even severe in many cases. So that's what these are for. They're to amplify and help you hear better. So if anybody has, for instance, a problem hearing the television, you might consider a transmitter like this that plugs into your television and broadcasts to a Bluetooth headset. This one is made specifically to broadcast to these headsets. If you have trouble, you could also use a pocket talker amplifier. This is basically a voice amplifier. You see the microphone at the top. It will, you can plug in a set of headphones, or if you have hearing aids, and if you have a telecoil in your hearing aids, you can plug that in instead of the headphones, and you get the added advantage that the sound that's being picked up by the pocket talker and being amplified will actually feed right into your hearing aids. So now you can really hear clearly in that case. If you're, let's say, in a group, maybe on a museum tour or something like that, you can use a personal listening system. This is an FM system. It has a transmitter, which is worn by the person who is speaking. and the receiver is worn by you. You can, again, you can have a telecoil or a neck loop plugged in, I should say, or you can have headphones plugged in. So even if you're 20 feet away from the speaker or 30 feet away or more, you still can hear very clearly what the speaker is. If you're in, let's say, a restaurant and you're having trouble hearing there, you're talking to maybe a group of people or even just one other person, you might want to use a pocket talker. If there's a group of people around the table, you could even plug in a conference mic, which has, this one has 3 different microphones in it. You set it in the middle of the table and it's plugged into the pocket talker, so you'll be able to hear what people are saying a little more clearly. Of course, it's going to pick up any sound it hears. So you'll hear a little background noise there too. A shotgun microphone can be used in the same way that the conference mic is used, but this one has some directionality to it, so you can actually point it at a person. That person can't be too far away. You know, like if the person is 10 or 20 feet away, it's not going to help. You're just going to pick up all the sounds around. But if you're closer, it can be a big help. All right, and then there are some devices that, these are some of the new technology that you may have heard about, maybe you even have. And these operate with an associated smartphone app. And that smartphone app is able to give you a hearing check. And it will play tones to you and it'll help to determine where your hearing threshold is. And by doing that, it can create a rudimentary audiogram. And the parameters of that audiogram, you know, it looks like the one you would get from your audiologist to some extent, to a large extent, is automatically downloaded into any one of these headsets that you're using. So now, when that happens, you can use these headsets, and this is really aimed at people who don't wear hearing aids, these two anyway. You now get some of the benefit of hearing aids. In fact, I think of them as a preliminary, a pre-over-the-counter type of hearing aid. I think of them that way because they work very well in that way for me. They've got actually 4 microphones, I believe. At least these 2 that you see on the sides up here, or this one here and one on the other one. So you can use it to listen to people around you. You can also pair it with your smartphone so it streams audio or podcasts, music or podcasts. Both of these are basically the same device, except the one called Access also has a telecoil built in, which can be a great help, as we just talked about. And this one, which is a horseshoe-shaped, sort of rigid device, goes around your neck. By the way, they all use the same hearing technology. But this one has speakers built in right about where my cursor is, so that even if you're wearing hearing aids, you can use this and it'll broadcast right into your hearing aids. It works best if there are not a lot of people closely around you, because otherwise they'll pick up the sound as well. But I've used it and I find it works pretty well. I've actually used all 3 of these and I'm quite impressed with them. They're sort of a step beyond the other type of products that we see here, which are mainly amplifiers. These are, I would call them smart amplifiers, customized to your hearing. So does anybody have questions on that? Any situations you may find where any of these devices sound interesting to you? And if not, we'll just move on, or we can come back to them too if you do have a question. Another category is hearing on the phone. There are amplified phones, which you can connect into your landline connection, you know, RJ11 jack that plugs into the wall. And they will amplify the sound. They have a tone control as well, which will help a little bit, but that tone control is only going to help people with a very mild hearing loss. That is, they will boost the higher frequencies somewhat. Nothing like the customized products will do. Or you can, if you have the old AT&T type phone, you can plug this in. It's a phone amplifier. You plug it in on this end to the base, the phone base, and on the other end, you plug it into the headset itself. And then a step further, if you have trouble hearing on the phone, and these devices don't help, you may be interested in a caption phone. If this is really very important, I think, with very severe or profound hearing loss, because everything that the other party, when you make a call or when somebody calls you, anything that the other party says is listened to by either a live captioner or it's picked up by a automatic captioning machine, automatic captioning process, and will display the text to you.
Yeah, I'd just like to throw in, Lauren, that there's a number of free voice to text apps for your smartphones now.
Good point. Yes.
I had a question about, well, you're coming to the loop devices, but has anyone ever had experience when riding in an airplane? And of course, they're giving all the emergency instructions and I can't hear them. Normally I use telecoil and I plug it in to the audio jack. Has anyone ever had experience in using, say, your telecoil plugged into the audio jack on an airplane?
Well,
Yeah,
so
I've successfully plugged a neck loop into the airplane.
That's what I mean, a neck
Yeah,
loop, because,
yeah.
okay, so that's interesting because I just ran across an article that someone sent me that there's now an electric airplane that provides a quiet experience and can, I have the article on that electric airplane, they're putting it in service. And I thought that's fascinating.
yeah,
I could send the article to somebody. I could send it through chat, except it's disabled to do that. But if somebody's interested in that, I'm happy to share that article.
I think chat is working.
Well, when I go into the, down in the lower right corner and click on the paper, usually it says my computer, but I don't get the my computer choice, and that's done in settings.
I think if you move your cursor to the bottom of the screen that I'm sharing, or to the bottom of your screen, you should see that pop-up menu that shows the chat button on it.
You know what I could do? I could share screen if you want to look at the article quickly.
Or just,
Up to you.
yeah, or you could even just,
But to send it, normally I go to the chat down in the right-hand corner where that picture is next to the happy icon. And I usually send the article that way or send a document that way. But that is, we can talk about this later.
Lauren,
Yes.
while we're on that subject, Carolyn, I have tried that. This is Sue Miller. I have tried that and using my neck loop and plugging it into see like a movie or something that's going on. And I get the very high squealing feedback on my hearing aids. And I've just given up.
So you're talking about plugging in your neck loop to the
Right.
audio jack on an airplane.
Right. Is there any way to do that without getting that squealing sound?
Well, I haven't ridden airplanes enough to do it in different airplanes. The one time I tried it was I had a buzz at the gate, but when the airplane left the gate, the buzz went away. You know,
Yeah.
these are kind of funny experiences, and I haven't ridden in airplanes enough, you know, to really do trial and error testing.
Yeah,
So you used your regular neck loop?
Yeah, this is what I used, you know, the amplified CLAV2.
yeah.
I
My-
used
That's different
this.
from what I just used a regular neck loop.
Well, this is,
Well, there's no such thing as a regular neck loop. There's amplified and unamplified. I use an unamplified and I have a booster if I need it. But if you're getting feedback at me, you may be overdriving your devices because of an amplified neck loop. You can try turning the amplifier off.
okay, I've got both kinds of neck loops. I know what you're talking about, the NK01 or something like that, which is a regular neck loop. So I can bring both of them. And as
Dan?
I write on different like JetBlue or Alaska Airlines, I mean, this is really important.
Yeah.
If there was an emergency on an airplane, I would be,
It
you
looks
know,
like,
all of us.
looks like Dan might have something to add to that as well.
I've been on a few planes. I've noticed on the newer planes, you can just turn on your T-coil and hear the announcement just sitting in your seat without plugging into anything. You just have your T-coil on. But that's been very rare. I think I've had that happen to me maybe twice. I've always checked. To see
Which
if it's a
airlines?
newer. I want to say JetBlue was the one that did it for me. It was
Huh.
when I went to Disney World with my family, and we had a stop, and it was only on the second stop from, I want to say JFK to Orlando. It was a bigger plane, a newer plane, and that one had it. But not all planes have it, obviously. There's some of these planes are 30 something years old, believe it or not. Kind of makes you nervous knowing that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's the truth.
Well-
But the newer planes, some of them are looped, and some have jacks where you can like listen to the movie that you're watching. And when you do get away from the gate, the humming noise does tend to go away. I've noticed that in almost all the planes. But there are a couple of the older planes, the smaller ones, where the humming just never goes away. It's just awful. You can't even use it, you know?
Yeah,
So-
it'd be nice to have a list or somebody as to how, what planes work, what don't, that
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah, and then
That's
what
really-
airport is looped and what airport isn't. I mean, Rochester is looped, but
The
not many
gate.
airports are, yeah.
The
Yep,
gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is valuable information and I don't know exactly where to find it, but that's very helpful, Dan. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anyway, I can send that information on the electric plane to somebody that could
Yeah.
distribute it if you're interested.
Just send it to the email you got with the Zoom.
Yeah.
And
Will do.
Charlie can send it to the group.
Yeah, what happens is if you use the evaluation section of the Zoom meeting, that goes to Barb and it's all compiled and then sent back to us. Now, I can distribute it, but keep in mind, I can't distribute it to just the people that attend the meeting. I would have to distribute it to everyone who's registered, which
That's
probably
that's really up to you. That's fine with me.
no, I think
you
that
know.
would be interesting for everybody.
Yeah, it would be. It was fascinating to me. Okay,
Just piggybacking on that, it's important, I think, for all of us when we get on a plane and we don't have a solution, then say something.
yeah,
The airlines are required to provide accommodation by the ADA. But if they don't realize that they've got hard of hearing people on board, they're not going to do anything. So it's an awareness issue. You've got to speak up.
I do that every time. I do the valuation. So you were so correct.
Okay,
We all
so
have to do it.
let's just go a little further here with the devices. And yeah, we're starting to talk about the hearing induction loop devices as well. And as Eric was mentioning, there are passive neck loops and amplified neck loops. And all of the devices you're looking at right here relate to induction loops or hearing loops. They're called both things. There's even a pillow sort of or a pad you can sit on, and you plug it in to the sound source and it'll broadcast up to your telecoil. Or if you go into your local grocery store or pharmacy or really any business, you know, you look for the telecoil symbol, and if that's the case, it'll tell you that you can turn on your telecoil and hear what people are trying to say. Well, the person who is using that device is saying. You see a little microphone here off to the side. So you're on one side of the customer service window and they're on the other side, and they're speaking into that microphone, and the magnetic field is broadcast to your telecoil. That's a great help. We have that in the Wegman stores around here, and I don't know about other stores. We need to maybe get a little more active in that area. There's also an induction loop receiver. Even if you if you don't have a telecoil in your hearing aids, you can still pick up the induction loop if you use this receiver. And then since you don't have a telecoil, you can't plug a neck loop in, but you can plug some headphones into it and at least get the increased volume that will give you. And then this is one of the products I showed you earlier. It has a telecoil. And this is an interesting little product. It works best with an iPhone. You can't see the other end of it, but there's a plug just like any of these devices like this. And it'll plug into your iPhone. And you download an app for your iPhone that works with this device. There's a telecoil in here. The telecoil will pick up the signal from the loop. It'll feed it into your smartphone. The smartphone app will recognize that as something to be amplified, so it amplifies it, and then it sends it back out through the earbuds. So that works pretty nice too. I think it's like $75 or something. And even for somebody who doesn't wear hearing aids, but they would like to get a little better volume when they're in, in a situation like that, in an auditorium that is looped. And then finally, for people with, mostly I think with profound hearing loss, or even people who are deaf, there are alerting devices that have strobe lights in them. This one will shake the bed when your alarm goes off. And if you're traveling, this door knocker will start flashing whenever somebody knocks on your hotel room door. So those are the categories. I guess I went into more detail there than I had planned to. Sorry about that. But let's go back up a level. And here's an area I want to focus on. Is there anybody on the call who does not wear hearing aids right now and is looking to buy hearing aids? Okay, I guess not. So then this is really relevant, I think, to most of us. And I think the first place I started when I was looking for something to help me hear the television better was I started looking at assistive listening devices, over-the-counter type of things. Not like over-the-counter hearing aids, but things you can just buy from Amazon or places like that. And my journey with that was not real good. I started by getting just a pair of headphones and plugging them into the output of the television, the little headphone jack. And all that did for me was amplify the sound, but it didn't help me hear much better. I still had to use closed captions on the television. And then after a couple of years, finally getting smarter about it, I looked at a device that works with my hearing aids. And in fact, I'm going to show you that. I'll start with my Phonak hearing aids. And regardless of the brand of your hearing aid, it's very likely that they make some kind of device that works, that's made to work specifically with your own hearing aids. And Phonak is one of the larger manufacturers, I believe. I think a lot of us wear Phonak or Oticon or Widex, but there are things like this that you can buy. Here is a table mic. We just looked at that conference mic on the website a few minutes ago. And that one would, if you have hearing aids that have Bluetooth, they would broadcast directly into your hearing aids.
Lauren, are these compatible with a Widex?
You would have to go to the Widex. Let me, in fact, go right over there. You want a Widex assistive listening device.
Oh, I see. This is Phonak
Yeah, this is Phonak, right?
and that are only
Here's Widex.
compatible with,
I think, Al, you wear Widex hearing aids too, if I'm not mistaken.
we have two L's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Al Baker, yeah. So here is Widex assistive listening
Ah,
devices. So you can buy a TV streamer. You can see it there. It's a little, let me click on this and see if we can get a little better idea. So it
wow, this is great. I never knew this.
lets you enjoy the TV sound and you won't drive anybody out of the room doing it.
Wow. Oh, Lauren, thank you. I never knew these things were available.
And they have other devices too. You can change programs and volumes on your hearing aid using RC Dex control. And you can use your smartphone to control your hearing aids. That's with the Widex app. I think there's another.
You
Wow,
know,
okay,
you gotta
thank-
have the right version of Widex hearing aids, though. If
Yes,
you
you
have an
do.
older version, Sue, I think you have analog still, and that's,
No, I do have, no, I have digital, but they are old. But I do
Okay.
have digital.
yeah, they have to be a certain model in order to work for some of these things, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in fact, we can just take a look at you can get to the older versions here as well. Support for moment. Do you know what model your hearing aids are? What they're called?
Huge. I have no idea. But
Okay.
anyway, why don't you go back to Phonak and you and I can talk about this later.
Okay,
I would
well,
love to talk more about this with you, but I think most people have Phonak or, you know.
I think it
not
would,
Widex.
would be helpful though for others to see how we can drill down on some of this. So 'cause probably a number of people are wearing older hearing aids. I mean, mine are 6 years old. I can't use those devices I just showed you on the Phonak website.
I think mine are about 15 years old.
Okay, well,
Yes, so mine are really old.
but here they show other devices, some of them probably being older. Let's take a look at this. I think that might be an older device. And here they talk about system compatibility, what these things are compatible with.
And I have an Android.
The other thing, Sue, is that Eric has mentioned this in the past, and I did it too. I wanted to get a remote mic.
Yeah.
And I got mine from eBay, and it would have cost me, you know, probably well over $100 or $200 buying from authorized manufacturer. I got it for $20. I took a chance. I said, for $20, I don't care if it doesn't work. And I got it, and it works beautifully.
Ah,
Yeah.
I've done that
Yeah,
twice.
I've-
I got 2 TV streamers and a mini mic. They're all like under 30, 40 bucks I paid,
Yeah.
and they work great.
wow.
One of my hobbies is collecting and assembling universal external mics, wireless and wired both. that work with any brand of hearing aids. And I wanted to make that point is you don't have to get it from your hearing aid supplier. There are universal solutions.
That's right.
Okay, Lauren, how did you get to that WideX screen? I see WideX at the top. How did you get there? And then I can do that on my own.
Okay, I'll show you. Let's just go back here. Bump up a couple levels.
Yeah,
Apologize for the slowness here. But I blame it on Zoom. Everything is, we're going through an extra hop there. Well, here I can do it directly. You go to the main page right here. You know how to get there, right, Sue?
yeah.
And then click on Hearing Aid CI Assistive Accessories. And then it'll list all these different
Ah,
and just click on
there's
wide.
WideX. Okay, now I'm good to go. Thank you. Wow, that's so interesting.
Does anybody else have a question in this area or not? But I know that some of these devices or some of these hearing aids, if you go to their website, which you do by clicking on the link, you can also find older devices that will work with the hearing aid model you're using. But if you just noticed on the WideX website, they tell you what they're compatible with, all right? And if you have, by the way, if you want to ask that question later, you don't know who to ask, just go to the first homepage on the Virtual Demo Center, click on questions, and leave a question for us, and one of us will get back to you, or we can even have a Zoom call with you, private Zoom call if you'd like, and try to work through it. So that's pretty much it for hearing aid and CI accessories. I do want to go back to Phonak though for a second, because I'm more familiar with devices, their device page. And Dan had just mentioned the microphone. So here's this one is called the touchscreen mic. Dan, you don't have the touchscreen, do you? You don't have Phonak either, do you? Yeah. What
I
do
have resound.
Resound, okay, yeah. But for all of these or most of these devices, you can buy a little remote mic. It's real small. And let's say you're in the car with somebody and you want to be able to hear them, but the road noise is too much. You just can't hear. All you do is you turn on that remote mic, hand it to them. They'll clip it on, on their shirt somewhere. And now you'll pick up their voice very clearly. It's great. There, Eric is showing us one.
Yeah.
Some of these devices are probably not real convenient to use. Like the table mics are nice, but you're going to be carrying that along with you and putting it on a table somewhere. The remote mic, in my opinion, is very easy. You simply hand it to somebody and say, here it is, start talking. Here is the TV connector that Phonak makes. Here's another called the partner mic. That's more like the one I have. And here's a little remote control that you can use. And I want to emphasize what Dan said, either Dan or Eric, is that these devices work with all the Phonak hearing aids. In fact, none of these devices here work with my Phonak hearing aids, being 5 years old, but there is a Phonak device you can buy, and it will work with the older devices. And there's a mic that you can buy.
I have a conference mic that wireless that I can set in the middle of the table, but I would caution everybody when you get these devices, it's easy to forget them and leave them there. So the solution I've arrived at is I fasten my car keys to the device before I lay it on the table. I'm not going very far without my car keys. So.
All right, have I prompted, or anybody has prompted any questions yet or not? And are we going the right direction? Something you would rather have us address
I
specifically?
have another question. You asked me what model hearing aids I have.
Yeah.
How do I know? How do I know what model hearing aid I have?
Well,
I have it behind the ear.
yeah, it depends on the brand, but with mine,
Widex behind the ear.
yeah, but with mine, I have to take it out and open the battery case and then get a really good magnifying glass and look inside the hearing aid, and it'll have a model name in there. Dan, you have a comment?
You should have gotten a little manual with your hearing aids, a case, the bag that they send you home with when you come home with the new hearing aids. And then inside that bag, or hopefully you save that information, that will tell you what brand and model of hearing aids you have. And that
Oh,
will be easier
it's
to
a
read.
Senso. It's a Senso.
Okay.
I have a
Somebody got their hand up.
question.
Sarah had her hand up. Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question? I have Oticon hearing aids, and they are about 4 or 5 years old, still pretty good. I am interested in that Widex you were talking about, but I don't think that my old hearing aids are compatible. Do you know?
4 years old. Again, if you have the model number, I just went to the Oticon website here from the Virtual Demo Center. And let's just take a look. What would you be looking for specifically? A remote mic or a TV?
The TV, the Widex TV,
All right,
using Oticon.
let's look
No,
at that. Down here, you'll see.
Lauren,
Yeah,
Lauren,
yeah.
this is Dan speaking. She has Oticon hearing aids and she's trying to connect to Widex TV. That doesn't work. They're not, you can't pair another brand with another brand. Unless it's universal, but that's not universal. Proprietary items cannot be paired with other brands.
Yeah, Dan, what we're looking at here is the Oticon accessories.
Okay, all right.
So now I'm going to click on learn more about the TV adapter. And they show you all different options here, using a mobile phone, going to a restaurant, blah, 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 watching TV. Sometimes what you have to do is click on support and ask them the question, send them an email, which you can get to on the support system. You don't know your model name either, right? Other than Oticon?
Say that again?
Do you know what your hearing aids are actually called? Oticon something or other? Oticon More or?
I don't.
Okay, I think most people don't, so I'm not surprised. But what I suggest you do is go to that website and then let's just do this and see what we get. You see where my cursor is on the screen?
Yes.
Click on Explore Support. Anybody see anything there that says, how do I find out if this works? Here, view all product literature and instructional videos. That's always a good place to start as well.
Well, there's also a
Oh,
icon for connecting to a hearing care professional. I've called Oticon a couple of times in my experience wearing Oticons. They've always been very helpful. And they answer the phone quickly.
Oh,
Yeah, you know, I did that too with Phonak, and I agree, they were very helpful as well. So if you want, we can look for the phone number for them, or you can find that. But by the way, look at the left side of the screen. I think they're showing all the different, looks to me like these are all the different hearing aid models. So there's a chance that yours is in there somewhere.
yeah.
But I agree with Art. The thing to do is call them.
Lauren, I can put a phone number in the chat.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you. That would be helpful.
This
I
would
know
be
it's here somewhere, but I don't know where it is.
on technical support, okay?
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
any other questions? Yeah, and by the way, if they are older and not available anymore, again, try eBay. Have you ever used eBay?
Uh, Actually, I have not, but I've had friends who tell me how good it can be.
We, if you want, again, leave a question for us and we can get in touch personally and sort of at least show you what that's about and see if there is something there that might work for you. It always comes with the caveat that you're buying from eBay, which you're probably buying a used product and you hope it works. But eBay, I think, has a pretty good reputation.
Lauren, can you see that Sarah Ozier has her hand up?
Oh, no, I can't. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yes, thank you for this demo again. We have a table at a senior fair in July. Can you suggest to me what attracts people over to the table in terms of devices, or what we might have there for people to try? I guess particularly people who aren't treating their hearing loss at all. What have you found as successful?
Did you say it's a health fair or which?
Yes, it's a senior health fair.
Okay. Well, one thing I would suggest, but it would take some work, is if you had just a nice little 14-inch tablet that you could take along in order with a touchscreen, so you could quickly search a website. And for one thing, I think a touchscreen would attract people
Okay,
rather than brochures. And in fact, feel free to use our virtual demo center and link to that if you'd like to.
okay, that's a good idea.
I think the caption phones are also an eye catcher. If people have never seen a captioned phone, I think they like that.
It's a good point. In demo mode, the screen will be scrolling, right? So,
Okay,
Well, I mean, just to have, I think she's also, in addition to the laptop, I think she's also just looking for items and the vibrator. Oh, people always get a kick out of in Rochester. And where are you? Are you from where, Utah? Sarah?
I'm from California.
Oh, that's right, California. But I think they also get a kick out of things that they can feel and see vibrate. So
Okay.
the phone that wakes people up and that round disc that vibrates.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Or one of the things that flashes.
Yes.
yeah.
I have my smartphone set up, my iPhone, so that when I get a notification, I have the hard of hearing flash that goes off, and everybody says, "What's a flash?" Your phone's doing something, it gets people's attention. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Charlie and Dan and Lauren, what are some of the other things when people come in the demo center that they're initially really attracted to? What about the cushion that you can sit on and that it can pick up the television?
One thing, that's a good idea, but I don't want to make it too much of a job for them. You have to have a source of sound.
Oh, that's right. You have to have a TV. Yeah,
In our demo center, we have an actual small 22-inch flat screen TV, which feeds a lot of different devices. And that way you can actually use a device that listens to a TV. But
No,
you
really?
could actually hook that loop pad is actually driven by an amplifier. It's not just the pad itself. And yeah, I think Lauren's going to find it here. you can actually plug just a microphone into it and then sit on the pad and you can hear whatever somebody talks into the mic. But
Yeah, the one thing I would caution people, I have a fancy transmitter on my main TV, but I have auxiliary TVs around the house. We talked about these little remote microphones. I just lay them on the counter behind the TV and it works fine.
Okay,
Is that where the microphone is?
Because
Or the
most TVs today, the speakers are in the back for some reason.
The only,
So you put this behind the TV and it works and picks up fine.
it does pick it up, but what I found is that the quality of the audio is very poor. It's very tinny.
Well, it depends on the acoustics of where you are.
Yeah.
I haven't had a problem with this one.
The other thing that could be attractive is this right here, the portable info loop. If you take one of those along and also
Yes.
an induction receiver, then you can demonstrate to anybody, whether they have a hearing loss or not, what that would sound like to pick up that signal from
Yes.
from this device. Art.
Yes.
okay, that's good.
I'm going back to Sarah's question about how to attract people. You know, somebody mentioned the 22-inch TV we use. If you have a TV available and you have somebody with enough technical smarts to put a loop on a laptop or something to feed the TV screen, you could have that on the table and just running so that people see that, you know, it's something moving and then color and anthropologically that
Yeah.
attracts people's attention. And then if you have other things sitting around like we're talking about, once they walk over, just have people standing there that know something of, you know, it can engage them in conversation. The trick is to get the people to come to the table and then engage them in conversation.
Just a caution with the newer TVs, most of the manufacturers have dispensed putting hearing aid jacks on them now. There's no headphone jack.
Yeah.
So if you've got an interface device, very often it needs to be optical. They've got a fiber optic output in most cases. The other thing to be careful of is that it depends on how the TV is wired. Sometimes if you plug into the back of the TV to get the sound, it shuts off the main speakers. So nobody else can hear. Mine luckily is independent so that there's both and I can shut them on or off selectively. But just be careful, make sure that the TV has the jacks you need or the device has the jacks that are compatible with the TV.
I want to just
Yeah.
add, if the TV has an infrared, I forgot what fiber optic connection. I think it's called an infrared optic connection, I
Yeah.
think it's called.
Yeah.
That one you can tap into and it won't turn off the speakers.
that's what Eric was referring to. It's
Right.
an optical fiber jack, but you have to be sure your device can accept that. But yes, that's true. It would not turn off the internal speakers.
I would say if you're looking at hooking up to your TV, send us a note and we'll be happy to talk to you because
Yeah.
as you've just heard, it can be pretty involved, you know, more detailed than we probably want to go into here, more than you want to hear right now. But when you're ready to hook it up, you really want to hear about it. I struggled with that myself, you know, and
Yeah.
found out there are many
Some,
out.
some of the new TVs, the so-called smart TVs, automatically broadcast Bluetooth. And if you got Bluetooth compatible hearing aids, problem solved.
Okay, I see.
If you have somebody local that is technically astute, they can help you out. And often when I get stuck, I get a hold of one of the teenagers sitting around and
Yeah, we need a 10-year-old. Yeah.
Thank you very much for all of that input. That's very helpful.
Folks, we're at 1 o'clock. I can continue on. It's up to you folks. I could stop the recording and we could just chat, whatever your pleasure is.
We can also look a little deeper at some of these other areas if you'd like.
I also want to welcome Fred. Fred just joined us and
Fred
Fred,
Autry?
yes, thank
Hey,
you.
Fred.
Where is he?
He's there.
Oh, yeah. I
Can
see
you,
him.
can you undo the screen so we can see everybody? Can you unshare the screen?
Oh, sure.
Charlie and Lauren? Just for a minute so we can all see Fred?
There we go.
Where's Fred?
You're looking good, Fred.
Oh, there's Fred. Fred, how are you?
I'm doing just fine.
Oh.
I just want to thank Art for picking up that stuff at my house yesterday. I hope you were busy last night going through some of that junk. And it's not all junk. I'm sure somebody can use some of it.
Don't worry.
So take it so the rest of the group from the tech committee can review it and take what they need and do whatever you want to do with the other stuff.
You're far beyond me, Fred. I gotta get some of the tech guys to sort through some of that stuff, so I know what the hell I'm looking at.
Oh, that was so nice of you, Fred, though.
I think your son was glad that he have somebody pick it up and get it out of the way too.
Yeah, we're trying to clear out the house and I'm down here with my daughters and I'm coming along pretty good. So let's hope it continues so I can get out there fishing along with Dan. Yeah, we got to get out there if there's weather ever changes.
Oh, you look great, though. Oh, my goodness. You've made a great recovery.
What was that, Sue?
I said, you look wonderful and you've made a great recovery.
Oh, I'm working on it.
Oh, great. We're all happy to see you, Fred.
Pardon me.
Yeah, Sarah and Alan, those of you who don't know, and Lenora, Fred is what, 93?
I'm not picking up the conversation very well, Sue. I'm sorry.
That's okay, but he's 93 and he's been in the hospital and he's now back home. He'll be selling his own home and he's going to be living with his daughter. But he's been with the Rochester chapter since almost day one and has just been a vitally important part of for the last almost 40 years of our chapter. And so we're just so pleased to see that he's doing well. And you are. Look at that smile.
Yeah, thank you, Sue.
Yeah, I just had one other thought. If any of you are familiar with insurance for hearing aids, I mean, does your insurance pay for hearing aids? Something that we ran into recently is a lady wrote to us and said she wanted something that would help her hear the television better. And I had talked to her about it. Asked the first question I had was, do your hearing aids have a telecoil? And she didn't know. I said, well, what brand are they? And she said, well, True Hearing. So I called True Hearing and I couldn't get anywhere. I wanted to find out what models had telecoils and which didn't. And they wouldn't talk to anybody but the person who had the hearing aid. So I told her that. And I said, get in touch with them and ask if the model you have has a telecoil. And she did. And they told her, no, it doesn't. Not only that, but they don't have any accessories whatsoever that you can buy for those hearing aids. When you're talking to people, remember to warn them about that.
This is going to be our world as we go into the over-the-counter.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
To warn people to what to look for and what to be careful of.
You know, the thing is, and I think many people believe, and I did too when I got my hearing aids, and I've been in technology for 40 years, but I always thought, well, when I get my hearing aids, I'm going to be able to hear everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, everything within about 3 to 6 feet. That is, you'll be able to understand everything within 3 to 6 feet.
Yeah.
Wife
But
told me
you'll
they
hear everything 30 or 40 feet away, and it'll interfere with what you're trying to understand.
when I've had hearing aids for years, and my wife tells me they don't work very well.
Before we go, I want to welcome, we got Alan from Diablo Valley and Sarah from Novato. I'm curious, how far apart are you from each other?
You're muted, Sarah.
I'm in the North Bay, so San Francisco, imagine San Francisco and the area around it.
Yeah.
I'm in the north. Alan is in the northeast. So let's see. I think I have to go over a bridge or go around the bay to get over to where he is.
How far away are you from the Redwood City chapter?
Oh, Redwood City is down south of San Francisco. So there, I would have to drive from here 25 miles to the Golden Gate Bridge and then drive through San Francisco and then south. So I'd say at least, hour and 3/4.
Yeah. We know several people from that chapter as well. Good friends of ours.
Oh, yeah. And so we meet. I know them too through the Zoom meetings and our Bay Area Walk for Hearing. So I see them in the California Leaders Meeting.
Oh,
Great. In fact, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Regine Castle is
Yes.
the one who told us initially about their demo center that they have. And they're the Rocky Stone Assistive Listening Device Center, I think she called it. And she and I always roomed together at the national conventions. And she would talk about this demo center. And so sharing what she would say with some of the people from Rochester, they all picked up on it. And that is, Regine is the reason we're all talking right now. We would not
Yes.
be doing this if it had not been for Regine Castle.
Right. She's made a lot of contributions to the to the HLAA, and that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know Alan, and he edits and uploads our meetings to the California YouTube channel. So we do know each other. Ann Thomas,
Yeah.
Ann Thomas and Alan are in the Diablo Valley chapter. I'm North Bay. There's an East Bay chapter, which is slightly south of where Alan is, but it's in the East Bay, again, over a bridge. And they're Alameda, Oakland, Berkeley. And then they're San Francisco. They're not doing much right now, to my knowledge. And then there's south of that. There's Redwood City. And then all the way down California, there's different chapters. And I see them once a month in the California Leaders Group on the second Friday.
Wow.
Hmm.
You guys seem to be really with it out there. Got a lot of chapters.
Yeah, but you guys have a great demo center.
Thanks to Regine Castle
yes.
in California.
And,
Yeah.
I have to
We're-
add, I was just going to say, Regine,
Yeah.
Regine started their demo center way back in the year 2000. That's how long she's been doing it. All out of suitcases.
Yeah, and so our chapter, the North Bay, just started in 2018. So we're new here. So we're in a different stage of development than they are down there. So we don't have a demo center. We don't even have a place to meet right now. So we're meeting on Zoom.
Hang with it. Zoom is good. Zoom is good. We
Yeah.
haven't made an in-person committee meeting to speak of in 2 years. We used to do everything in person. And now we're on Zoom because of the pandemic. Fred had his hand up there.
I just want to make a further comment regarding accessories. I'll tell you, without the help from Don and Charlie, and my stay at the hospital was much, much easier than it would normally be. The microphones and the various other attachments that I had and plugged in so I could hear the telephone or watch the TV without having to hold a speaker up to my shoulder. But I always spoke highly about accessories. This is a big problem most people want. As stated earlier, they think they get the hearing aid and that's all she wrote, but that's not all she wrote, believe me.
Can I go back to Alan Katura, not Al Baker, but did you ever, Alan, is there a Leo who was still involved in the member of the Diablo Valley chapter? And I can't think of Leo's last name.
There's a Leonard Bridges. Is that who you mean?
Leo, he was a member of the Diablo Valley chapter. His first name is Leo.
I am unaware of anybody named Leo that's been affiliated with the chapter since I started working with it.
This was maybe 35 years ago, 30 years ago.
Okay, so I've been involved for about around 2010 or 2011. So that's way before my time.
It would be, yes.
And Alan, I've got to ask you real quick. I can't help noticing what you have around your neck. Does that happen to be one of the Be Here devices?
No, it's just a ear jack.
Oh, okay.
And
But the
instead of just
microphone works.
no microphone, it's just like AirPod type stuff. It doesn't. My ears don't retain things very well, and I do not have a hearing loss either, so I don't wear any hearing device. But I just use this so my mom did. So these are wired so they don't fall off and I don't lose them.
Alan, you wear them just to sort of keep the sound confined so you're not disturbing anybody around you. Is that it?
That's correct.
Okay. Dan?
Yeah, I just want to bring up for Alan and Sarah, if they're interested, and maybe Lorna, the next two Tuesdays, we're going to have our very first hybrid meeting where it's going to be in person and remote. It's kind of new to us, and I think it's new to many chapters out there. So hopefully it's going to be a good run, but it'll be the first Tuesday of the month. We're going to have a chapter program hybrid style. So if it's something you're looking into doing down the road, you might consider joining us and see how it goes.
Yeah, I would be interested in attending that.
Yeah, and if you registered to get the Zoom invitation, and I can't look up the presentation one, you registered for Demo Center, but if you also register for presentations, you'll get the Zoom invitation to that hybrid meeting, which is the presentations part starts at noon on May 3rd.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
We have a business meeting at 11:30, which also may be of interest, but as Dan said, this is the first time we've tried to do both in person and Zoom from our normal location.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's the first live field test. So we'll see how it goes. I think the guys, from what they've described, have done a good job of setting it up. So, and one of the big problems could be our speaker. He tends to walk around a lot. I think we're going to have to mark the floor. Do not
Draw a big circle.
We need to nail his foot to the floor, Art.
Do the invisible fence.
It's a
And
fixed
Al
camera.
Baker knows, he used to install invisible fencing for dogs. So maybe Al Baker can put an invisible fence around a circle so that people only go so far.
Well, just one of the strategies we're going to try. Don't know if it's going to be successful, but by the way, we've had 2 practice sessions and everything has gone fine. We didn't have that presenter there as Peter Fackler, in fact, is presenting. But we're going to be using a external webcam instead of a camera built into the laptop computer. And with that, we'll be able to have a much wider field of view. So if Peter wanders around within reason, you'll still be able to see him.
And is Eric going to put this on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great, Eric. Great. You
Yeah,
know, Lenore,
Yes,
are you from Buffalo?
I live on Grand Island and
Grand Island, oh, yes,
became interested through Janet McKenna,
Yeah.
who now
Yes.
lives in Rochester.
Oh, it's always so good to see you at our
Well,
meeting.
thank you. I have not joined you for a few months, but
I know,
I'm
we've missed
able
you.
to again.
We've missed you.
And I was able to get a ride to Rochester a few days ago and spent a nice long afternoon and evening with Janet.
Oh, good.
Well, come on May 3rd so you can come to the daytime meeting.
I will do it through Zoom. It's too
Okay.
hard for me to get rides from here. It takes an hour and a half, one
Yes.
way.
Yes,
I was gonna say, join us at Glens Falls for the state conference. We're having a state conference for New York State in
Yes,
September.
I heard about it.
Yeah,
I'm on your list. And thank you all. It was nice to be back.
yes.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I have
Julie.
to leave. Okay. Thanks, Lauren.
Bye.
Thanks, Charlie.